Okay, so this is the community meeting of the external secrets operator. Today is June 9th. And yeah, we follow the code of conduct that we have on the repository, both for these types of meetings and also contributions and interactions in general. Ricardo already introduced himself, but if you want to do it again, since it was only us last time.
Yeah, my name is Ricardo. I'm also a cloud native engineer at Continuous Solutions, and I've just joined the External Secrets Operator project a couple of weeks ago. It's been fun so far.
Yeah, we at Container Solutions, we are trying to assign people to some open source projects, like when we are in between clients and this kind of stuff. So yeah, experimenting with this. Yeah.
Sounds cool. Welcome.
Nice.
Thanks. No, we can mention as well that we're doing a little bit of mob programming and pair programming in this project. Actually, we do it as well internally. There's an issue now, which is the IBM provider, that we're actually doing it like once a week for a couple hours, like a bunch of people within CS. And so we're tackling it as a mob, as a team.
Yeah.
That's been fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, cool.
Nice. And yeah, I think we have some things from the previous community meeting that I think it makes sense to discuss further, but I think we can start with your items, Moritz. So this first one, so the Azure Key Vault merge open to-dos.
Yeah, it's great that it has been merged. I think there are some to-dos left over. I'm not completely up to date. I just saw that it got merged, and there's some documentation is not present. I gotta look into that. How far it is. There was one thing open when I took a look at the pull request. Something that we can fix later on. I think the way that the key is extracted, I think is more or less hard coded. But I just put that thing on the list to just keep track of open to-dos. It's just a reminder for myself to at least open issues so we can keep track of that. Maybe there are some other things open that you have in mind. Maybe we can just some more things if you have any.
About the Azure Key Vault?
Yeah.
Yeah, documentation for sure. It's like for both Google and also Azure Key Vault, we need to add more documentation. It's just a normal workflow, like some snippets, and that's it. So we need to explain like what's happening there and all that. I tested the secrets that they show in the documentation. So the simple like plain text and also certificates and the other one, and it works. I tested with Azure on the CS account.
Mm-hmm.
After testing it, I decided to merge. So yeah. And besides that, I would have to have a look on the pull request to be sure. But I saw that most of the conversations were marked as resolved. Where is it? Azure. But on top of my head, I cannot remember a lot of things. So what's this thing that is hard coded that you mentioned?
Pull request 2. I think it's from the get key. Oh yeah, it just supports extracting RSA keys from the get key response from Azure. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that it supports also other algorithms like ECDSA and the other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I can just open an issue with that. And also the idea would be that might be an option to push the key transformation to the templating layer so that we just get some key from Azure, and the user has to decide in the template what kind of key it is. And I'm not sure. Maybe you can just dive into that, because right now only RSA is supported, and I think like all that Azure offers should be supported.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, we should open an issue for that. Yeah, we can tag them. Maybe they can help, or if they can't, we can develop this. I think it's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna open an issue for that.
Cool. So the other one, bug when provider is low.
Yeah, that's issue 169. That's in my opinion, rather severe bug. So the guy who reported that was using Vault, and the Vault server is kind of slow, like 1 second or 2 second response time, something like that. And this is just a general issue whenever a provider is slow, could be Azure, Google, or whatever. Then the external secret just the control just goes wild and just kind of continually updates the secret, because the timestamp is part of the resource, and it's gonna update and update and keep updating, and it's gonna never end. I put a comment there, like there are essentially 2 ways to resolve the issue. One would be to completely ignore status updates from the control loop, which is not ideal. And Kellen also commented on that one. It should be the responsibility of the controller to to maintain, update, and respond to status changes. And yeah, the problem is that the status field contains a timestamp, which keeps it running.
Yeah.
The other option would be to somewhere what was it again? I think like storing a timestamp when it should be updated next. And with this difference, you could potentially just calculate, like, should I update it or ignore this this reconciliation? The problem with that is whenever we change, whenever the secret changes, like the metadata, labels, annotations, whatever, then it's not going to update, which is less than ideal, because I think this really should be like part of the API. Whenever label annotation is changed, it has to do a full reconciliation loop, fetch the secret, and create the secret kind with the new labels and annotations, stuff like that. That's just something that I would like to bring up, that this is an issue right now, and there's already a pull request open, which I'm not sure if it really tackles the issue, because it's a huge if else switch, and I think there's some more elegant way to fix that issue, but it essentially boils down to the status changes.
So the same guy that reported the issue is the one that opened this PR, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. I didn't have yet much time to look into that. I was on vacation last week. I'm gonna focus on that one, because I think this is really important, and it's a rather severe bug. Because if you wait for 2 seconds, or the provider needs more than 2 seconds to respond, then this is an endless loop, which is not ideal.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Nice. But do you have the solution in mind? Like, is it still a challenge, or do you have the 2 options that you gave both of them have some drawbacks, right?
Yeah, I think ignoring status updates is not an option, isn't really an option. I'm looking for a different way, but I have to explore what is possible and what is an actual way to resolve this issue. Yeah, so there's no perfect solution or like no approach in my mind. I just got to explore and see what can be done.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a good idea right now. Also, I'll think about it. I still have to look over the issue and also the pull request. I didn't have time also, but yeah, I think this, like you say, it's a priority. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I think we can also go over the last meeting notes. So support level, I added this to the README, basically saying that some providers we are like maintaining internally, like the maintainers, and some are maintained by the community. And I already added Azure there. Like I know it's one of the big providers, but I added it there. We can move it around, but I think it makes sense for now because the developers are like, it's kind of giving ownership to the developers. I think it's nice. And I added the support level, basically asking people to have patience when asking for support and for help. Like we are trying to tackle priority issues, but it's a bit of best effort, but it's also, yeah, it's open source and it's not that big of a project yet. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Just to be clear, I saw this in a talk and I wanted to add it to the README. Yeah, the other thing, yeah, the deprecation policy that you mentioned. What did you have in mind?
Yeah, so the custom resource definition right now is in like V1 Alpha 1, I think. And what's not documented yet is how we gonna what does it need to take to bring it to a beta level or a GA level, and it's not documented whether we follow the Kubernetes deprecation policies or not, or yeah. That's mostly the question. Like, how are we gonna promote the resource definitions to a beta and GA stage, and how are we gonna deprecate the old version, so to speak? Because I kind of think that they are ready-ish for beta. At least the specification looks really good and promising to me, and I don't really think that we need to change a lot of things. Maybe add the one or other field later on, but no like general overhaul to change the complete structure of it. Yeah, that's the question. Like, how are we gonna document this, the deprecation policy? Like my proposition would be to essentially use the Kubernetes deprecation policy.
Do you see any drawback to that? Like maybe, I don't know. It seems pretty standard, but not sure if it's too complex, like to the policy.
Yeah. The downside to that is, well, we got to follow it strictly, and this also means, guarantee compatibility. Once it goes GA or in a beta stage, we need to provide an upgrade path once it reached a beta phase, and that's a good and a bad thing, I guess.
What about when we think about the spec on our CRD? What about the templating part of it? Like, I see the possibility of change going a bit more in that direction. The other fields, I think they are pretty final in a way, but templating can change a lot, right?
Yeah.
And then how do we document and follow the deprecation policy, considering that. Because it's also about things that we expect to change and things that we expect to be the same, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, we certainly need to define the API surface, like what is part of the deprecation policy. Maybe we can start with that to see what is relevant and what is not, because like some controller implementation details don't really matter. The CRD in itself should be part of it, I think, and also the functions from the templating part. Yeah, but maybe it's a little bit too early. I don't know. Like a user from Slack just asked that question. Yeah, and I think it would be great to have that documented. I'm not really sure like how we can document that.
Yeah,
or how we guarantee that.
Yeah, I'm not sure also. Yeah, but yeah, maybe it's early, but like starting with a draft, I think it makes sense. And yeah, maybe as a first step, like deciding what is part of the deprecation policy. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So I'll add this to this meeting just as a note here. So decide. Okay.
Yeah, I can open issue
okay.
for that to keep track of that.
Nice, thanks. The other thing, yeah. So yeah, we started looking into end-to-end test also in the mob that we are doing internally at CS. And the idea is to start with Google because it's easier. We have easier access to the Google infra. And yeah, we're probably starting with that this week. And yeah, eventually you'll have a PR for that. The other thing, so 0.2, do you think we can release 0.2 with this the current state of Azure, or should we wait for this issue to be fixed, like the thing that is hard coded and all that?
I think we can. What I'm thinking, because if we change what is actually if we change what is done by the controller, like the way how we fetch secrets from Azure KV, if we change that, then this is like a big change. Because I'm not yet sure like how much needs to be changed there. If we change like the interface between the provider and the stuff that's actually stored in the secret, this would be like a huge breaking change. And yeah, maybe I can dig into that later to see what is needed, and if it's compatible, then we can just release it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then if it's not, we wait for that, right? Instead of releasing a patch version. It doesn't make sense to release a patch version. Or does it?
Well, yeah, no, releasing a patch version is bad.
Yeah.
Being blocked on something is also bad.
Yes.
So
yeah, because we want to have frequent releases also, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fuck it. Let's just release it, and if we change something, yeah, I mean, it's documented that it's alpha, and it should be fine, I guess.
But you mean 0.2 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's release it as it is right now, and then we're gonna fix up stuff later.
Okay. Cool. The other one, okay. Yeah, we had I think we had the discussion also on the issue, right? About triggering refreshes. But then the conclusion is that we can do this by just adding annotations to secrets in a way, right?
Yeah, that would be my proposal, because I think this is really handy if you want to trigger a refresh manually, either from a, I don't know, maybe a Lambda function, or even through a CI pipeline. That will be like really handy to just edit that. I also took a look, just for the sake of knowledge sharing, the way Cert Manager. With Cert Manager, you can manually trigger a certificate refresh or reissue of a certificate. And the way they implemented that was using status conditions, actually, which is interesting, completely different.
Oh.
And this is, in my opinion, kind of hard to change the status condition with but it's more complex than just changing an annotation or setting an annotation or label. And they also created a kubectl plugin, like a crew plugin for that, so you can refresh certificates through kubectl. And I think this is like really complex, and I would like to have that, like way simpler. I think Cert Manager in general is like way more complex. And I think it should be fine to just start with an annotation or labels that needs to be changed, and in order to reconcile the secret.
Yeah, it's straightforward, and like I think that when you're trying out a project, you kind of think about trying that. Like, let me add an annotation here just to see if the reconciliation triggers. And yeah, I think it makes sense. Yeah. Cool. The other one, immutable secrets. Yeah, we started working on this one also on mobbing with some newcomers, but then we forgot about assigning the issue to us, and then someone else opened a PR for it. And yeah, we started implementing this on the controller, just like adding the immutable thing if it comes with immutable true to the secret itself. But the person developed this doing with the template. But I think it's fine also. And like you said on the pull request, maybe we can maybe just do end-to-end testing regarding this, right? Or should we change when we run the tests that are for the controller? Because when we do make tests, the tests of the controller also run, right?
Yeah. The test suite starts an etcd and an API server and like some other components. And these components are rather old, unfortunately, with a release that we have. But we can reuse the kind cluster that we start in the end-to-end tests, and start the controller tests exclusively against this pre-existing cluster. So I think this is just a migration that we should do in the future, because 1.16 is kind of old. Yeah. So maybe we can just do a switch. So when you say like you run the unit tests, it runs like all the tests in the packages except for the tests in the controller subdirectory. And then we need to add a different step before the end-to-end tests you to just run the controller tests there.
I see. So exclude. Something like this, right? Okay. The other one. Yeah, I think we discussed this a lot, but maybe we have something else to discuss about the scope access per namespace. It started with an issue, your issue about the adding annotations to the namespace, right? And later we had an issue for creating secrets in multiple namespace.
Yeah, I think these are two different features or use cases.
Yeah.
One is to distribute secrets over multiple namespaces, which is also something that is solved already with different controllers, by the way. I think we could use that too, or could implement that too. And the other issue was to scope the access of certain stores per namespace, so that team A can use the one store. Well, that one store can be reused by different namespaces without having it being global.
Yeah. But do we have anything to add here to discuss? Or...
No, not really.
Okay. Nice. And the last one is CodeCoff. Yeah, it's basically marking all of our PRs red. And even when we are like changing only one line, like it's marking it red. It's not adding code. And I looked a bit, like not deeply enough, but if we could like have a threshold for it to allow some changes, like maybe error margin 2% or something like that, but I could not find something that we could apply to the configuration that we have. I'm not sure about also changing tools. Do you know any tool that could be useful for coverage?
I think there are other tools. Well, I don't know any from the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it is unfortunate. Well, it's not ideal that it marks the pull request red. I like green pull requests.
Yeah. I saw some people moving out of CodeCoff because of the data breach that they had some time ago. And then some of them don't even use any tool. And what they do is, well, we have code reveal, and we see that people need to add a test, and we just refuse the pull request if they don't.
Yeah, I think having it is really important. It helped me like one or other time to spot issues when refactoring unit tests. That was really, really helpful.
Yeah, and spotting the lines that are not covered, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to have a look over the tools to see if we can maybe change the tool, or maybe really find the configuration that gives a threshold and ignores at least some things that make sense. I think that sometimes we are changing tests and it's like considering tests, like the coverage of tests, the code in tests. So it doesn't make, I'm not sure if this is really happening, but I have the feeling that sometimes it happens. Yeah, I'll have a look over this. So yeah, remember. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Moritz, do you want to join our mob sometimes? If you have the time.
How long is the session? Like 1 hour, or what is it?
Depends. We have like an internal mob that we do with people that are on the bench, and one that we like kind of invite anyone from CS. Maybe you could join this one. It's Tuesdays, like in the end of the the work time, and it's for 2 hours, but you don't need to like stay for the whole thing if you, but
Yeah.
you can also.
Yeah, sure. Like it sounds fun.
Nice.
Also, I had the idea to do that also in my company. At least trying it out to see whether it works or not. But yeah.
Do some people do it in your company, Moritz?
Not for open source project. We do this like for client work.
Okay.
Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's annoying. But yeah, anyways,
Yes.
yeah, I had the idea to just try this out. It's great that you do it, and it sounds like you're having fun. So it's good, yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
maybe just invite me, then I just can check if I have time,
Cool.
and then I can try this out with my company too.
Cool. Nice. Will be fun. And yeah, we just started doing this. Like we are trying to make this a culture thing instead of CS also. Yeah. Nice. Do you have anything else to discuss?
Who cuts the release?
Sorry?
Who cuts the release?
I can do it.
Great.
Nice. Awesome. Then thank you for joining. And yeah, we'll probably see each other on the Mobi.
Thank you for moderating.
No worries. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stop recording.